Here we are. We're back
We're
in
back
the studio.
in the studio. What's up, Bjorn?
What's up,
You were
Nick?
out last week.
I was.
You went to Montana. How was Montana?
I know, it's been a few weeks. Dude, it was sick. It was cool. I got there I haven't been there in the fall in a long time.
Yeah.
We went to Glacier National Park, which
You
I haven't
guys
been
hear
to in
elk
like...
bugling?
No elk bugles. Oh, but there are, at my parents' place in Whitefish, there is this holdout World War II. I might have this wrong. Holdout, like old school thing. There used to be a curfew. And so there's like an alarm that like a,
okay.
Like it sounds like if you're playing like one of those World War II games and there's like a bomb threat or whatever. One of those happens every night at 10 o'clock.
Huh.
The cool thing about Whitefish is when that happens, the coyotes all go crazy.
Oh, so you start hearing coyotes like howling?
Yeah.
Coyote howling sounds really cool.
Like, and you can hear them all over in the woods, and you're just like, yeah, it's cool. It's very cool.
Coyotes have an interesting howl where they like howl and then they also yip in it, and they sound kind of crazy.
It's a cool thing because it's like when you live in Montana, like, yeah, there's wildlife everywhere, but you kind of just forget about it, just like being there. But there, and then that happens, and you're like, oh man,
like,
and you can hear them. They're like there and there and
within 1,000 yards of us right now, easily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very. And then like you see bears and stuff all the time out there, and I don't know, you just like kind of forget how dangerous but majestic they are.
Yeah,
dude, almost hit so many deer. Like, it was really funny too, because I was like, I almost hit a deer. I was seeing them because it was dusk. I forgot how sketchy it is at dusk, where like where it's not totally dark, so your headlights aren't really doing anything yet.
Yeah. That's the worst time.
That
is
moment.
like that last, like right around
Instagram moment. Good time.
Like
for driving.
The half hour after the sun actually sets, when it's still sort of light out, like that. The last half hour of shooting light, you know. Because that's going to be a solid reference for most of our listeners.
Yeah.
Anyway, when you go hunting, half hour after sunset and a half hour before sunrise are legal shooting hours.
Oh.
Yes, a shooting light. Anyway.
Well, I was thinking like golden hour. It's like for photo shooting.
That too, probably. It's like the best time to
perfect.
catch the sunset. Everything's orange.
Sunset or sunrise. It just has a nice, dude, middle of the day is the worst. And people don't understand that always. That's why I love shooting photos out here, because most of the time it's overcast and it doesn't matter. You can get cool, like soft light.
No, but that light is the worst for driving, because it's like, dude, your headlights aren't doing anything, but you also can't see.
No, you can't. And I forgot how attuned I am to that, like, because I did so much. Because when I was a kid, my dad lived in Polson, my mom lived in Whitefish, and I would, like, every other weekend, my sister and I would go stay with our dad. Yeah. And so I would drive Highway 93 between there, and it's just like this twisty highway.
Like right along Flathead Lake, right?
Yeah. Next to Flathead. It's like gorgeous and so weird that like now I go back there and I'm like, I forgot how crazy and beautiful
picturesque it is. Where you're like looking at this crazy cool lake with the Mission Mountains right behind it, which are like one of the cooler looking mountain fronts, because it's just right up like 4,000 feet or something, right?
Dude, every time
the Mission Mountains are crazy looking.
Every time I go,
the first time I went to the Flathead Valley, which was I was like in college. My buddy lived in Libby, and I drove up there, and I came up and over the hill from like Missoula. Like the first time I saw the Mission Mountains, I was like, "Holy shit!" You know, it was like, this looks like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, we're like watching Lord of the Rings and it's boring. We're like,
you're like fucking dragons.
It's more interesting. Good thing we went to a matinee so we can see something just as gorgeous when we leave.
Well, then you went to Glacier Park.
Went to Glacier Park, which, dude, it's wild. It's like way melted. Like, the glaciers are way smaller. There was like hardly any glacier left. Yeah. Like I think it's getting so small that it can almost not be considered a glacier anymore.
Yeah, like some of
those
glaciers up there are definitely.
Yeah. And I
think there's a few that are still kind of holding on, but they're all receding.
It was just wild. I mean, there was just nothing. I mean, there was barely anything. It was just crazy. Like, because I remember it being, you know, like there being more snow and stuff up there, but there's just like hardly was anything.
Well, also you went like right at the end of like the summer season when they hadn't really had any new snow. It's probably like the least snowy it'll be.
Right. And they were putting all those sticks in because we went up going to the Sun Road.
Yeah.
And they put sticks in the spring when they plow it, which is crazy. Like, I can't even imagine working that. It would just be wild.
Yeah, that seems like a fun job, honestly. Like, you'd get some cool stories.
Oh, yeah. If you survive
might fall off a snowy cliff, but, like, if you don't, you got cool stories.
That's like an epic death. Like, I almost had, like, a not
That's
epic death.
That's respectable. What's your not epic death?
I was actually driving back here, and I stopped in a rest area because I had to go potty.
Okay.
And I was in there. And it was one of those like non-gender ones, so it was just like a really small bathroom. And I started getting lightheaded. I wasn't even in there that long. I was alone. I was driving alone, and there was nobody else there. I was all by myself, and I started to pass out. And I recognized it because it had happened. I worked in a job where we had to do some cleaning, and if you mix these two cleaning products that are really common, ammonia and bleach. Which this person definitely did in a small, poorly ventilated bathroom.
Yeah.
I started to pass out,
that
and I was
makes
like,
mustard gas, right? That they used in like World War One.
War crimes.
To clear out the trenches over there in France or whatever the fuck.
Yeah, I love that you can just create mustard gas in every grocery store, Target. You can just be a terrorist.
I know you've tried this on stage before, just to ruin the illusion.
It's fine.
But like, I wasn't also on stage at the time. My dad told me about that when I was a little kid.
Yeah. So you did it?
No, I didn't do it. When he was like a teenager, he worked at a McDonald's, and he fucking evacuated the McDonald's one time because he mixed those two things to clean the bathroom. And then he was like, that doesn't smell good. And he mentioned what he did to the manager, and he was like, oh, fucking everybody out now.
I had a science teacher when I was in 7th grade who it was like a younger guy, and then there was like the older teacher that was like in the room. I don't remember this setup. But yeah, he started like talking, and it's like, you think a young teacher in a middle school, probably like mid-20s, you know, and like he knows about science. And he just started talking. He's like, yeah, you know, like mixing stuff, like you got to be really careful. Like something really bad would be if you mix bleach. And the older teacher was like, shut up right now. Shut up right now.
Someone's
like,
going to commit an act of terror.
Well, fully dropped like the whole teacher veil.
Really?
And you saw like the concerned adult in the room who's just like, don't you dare tell these 12-year-olds how to make chlorine gas. Like that is, there's no benefit to that. Like you're going to have dead pets and like,
Ooh,
tragedy.
That is good.
Tragic.
Tangerine sour.
Bjorn, did you bring anything back from Montana? Any exciting souvenirs or...
Well, last time I went, I brought that, and then I did not buy that there. I always stop at this one spot called like $50,000.
Oh, the silver dollars.
Do you ever go there?
Never.
Dude,
driven by it 1,000 times.
It's
and by 1,000 I mean like 12.
Do it next time. But it was the first place I went where there was no masks. Not a mask in the whole place. And everyone giving us attitude, comments. I don't know if it was my boyfriend going, cute. Oh, that's super cute.
Yeah, that might have tipped it off for him.
Been, but we were the only people in the place wearing masks.
They're like, hey guys, we got no problem with your lifestyle, but get those fucking masks off.
Honestly, that sounds like the Montana that sounds like the Montana I remember. As they would be delighted to have you bring some diversity to their store, as long as you didn't wear a mask.
As long as you don't bring that bullshit mask.
Yeah, that's how we own the libs.
Right. Oh my god. But there was like, that place is rad because it sells all this like cool stuff for cheap. Because if you go anywhere in like Whitefish or other places, everything's really expensive.
Yeah. No, I mean, Whitefish is like
a leather.
Whitefish is like a premium ski town.
Yeah.
At this
point.
It's
really changed. Dude, the price of houses is crazy there.
Yeah.
Like,
it's a resort.
Live there. Like, I couldn't move back. The only way I could move back there is if my parents just let me stay at their house.
Yeah.
Which they may get rid of just because it's like, because the other thing that could happen is if it's only allowed to be, because it's farmland, there can only be one house per 20 acres.
They can't subdivide.
They can't subdivide it. But but it's really close to town because town has slowly encroached. But if that happens, if it did happen, the taxes on that would just be crazy, and then they would probably have to.
If it became big enough to if they
changed
the rules,
if they changed the zoning.
Yeah.
They rezoned it because I was like, oh, if they rezoned it, then maybe I'll like move back here. And I don't know. I always get really emotional because I just don't feel like I can move back to my hometown. That's just like a weird thing.
Is it more expensive than Portland even?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Oh my God, yeah. Like median house in Whitefish, like most. Well, the thing is it's the thing that happened in California. The dirt's worth more than the house that it's on.
I was going to say it's not a fair comparison really, because like the tiny house in Portland that sells for $500,000 is not, in my mind, comparable to something that's on 20 acres with like a bunch of grandeur.
But there's not really a lot of 20-acre plots left in Whitefish.
No, there's not any.
I'd
have to.
You're saying just
Whitefish,
the regular ones
here's
in
the
town.
thing: is Whitefish
the
is
little
turning
houses
into
in town.
Whitefish is like Whitefish and Big Sky are both kind of like Aspen, Colorado, but in Montana.
And
so it's like rich people.
There was this
there,
one
right?
rich dude. I don't remember his name. My mom was telling me all about it. But apparently, this super rich dude bought a place there, huge ranch. Then started throwing these parties where he would fly all of his friends in, and that's what made it really popular because nobody really even knew about it.
Oh, and like all of them were like, "Oh, this is cool,"
These,
and they all bought shit. And so then there's just a bunch of rich people that fly out there from time to time, and
there was always like a lot of rich people there, and it was kind of trending in that direction. But COVID just made that like. Happen way faster and way quicker.
Yeah, because I think people got the idea that Montana was like some sort of, like it was completely rural and there was nobody for 100 miles and you could
best
never
of both
catch
worlds. They get just enough wildness to like satiate their city slicker mentality.
Yeah, they can pretend they're a cowboy, but they're not. They still got
they buy like some
fucking
Filson
wine
shit.
bar.
Yeah.
I just realized what you were realizing. Did I bring anything back? I might have gotten COVID.
I'm glad we got here. I like how you're like.
It took me like 5 minutes to
You're
understand.
like, I got this bleached cow skull, and also we went to this place, no mask whatsoever. By the way, the houses are really expensive.
I was just gonna let you get there.
I got there.
You got there.
Appreciate
Yeah,
it.
I believed in you, dude.
So last week I might have had COVID. I don't
You
think I did.
tested negative on the home test kit, but it's the home test kit.
Here's my deal, though. I think I did a good job. Maybe this is what everyone thinks.
Oh, okay.
I watched 2 YouTube videos.
Right, but I feel like those test kits themselves
and
are just
I was very
accurate.
careful with it. So I bet you a lot of those false things are people just being really cavalier and
That's
like
true.
Think
People
about how
suck.
there's like there are websites dedicated to people helping you put IKEA furniture together.
Oh, I mean, people
And
are
I nail that every
fucking
time.
Stupid.
First try, I did put a chair together today, and I did mess it up, but I fixed it very
admit
quickly.
that. But like,
But
people
most
are
of the time,
dumb. No, you're not wrong.
I was
There are a lot of
very
dumb
careful, and I feel pretty confident. I think it was like a flu. I don't know, but crazy.
Here's what I'll say about the test real quick.
Yeah.
Nobody buys one pregnancy test. Like if you're getting those ones,
I bought 2 and took 2.
Oh, you didn't say that.
Oh, you doubled up and you were negative both
You
times?
always double up. They come in a 2-pack.
Oh.
Now we're the assholes
Well, I didn't
because
know
we're
that
like.
either.
But I bought 2 2-packs, so I have more if I needed to.
Yeah.
And if I had tested positive, and then I did them a day apart.
Okay.
So.
Oh, so
These are the details that we did not have.
You did just have a flu, so you can still get COVID.
Okay, cool. I skipped our show. We had our inaugural show.
Yeah, the first guest spot.
Yep. Marisha stepped
happened.
in.
I had a private comedy show. It was tight.
Terrence was our entire audience for the first 2 comics. That was a non-comic.
Yeah.
And then some people started to filter it, and it turned into a really fun show.
Something that's interesting about comedy shows like that in Portland is the comics here are so good. It's like insane. Like
this is
Terry,
what Shane said at the end.
You got a comedy show of probably some comedians that we're gonna see in fast forward 5-10 years, they'll have whatever the equivalent of Netflix specials. And I mean that lineup that I booked was stacked,
Let me say this. Here was my my attitude at the end of the show.
Yeah.
Oh no. I killed myself. Anyway. There we go. The show was super good. This is good because like I'm not a part of the show. I was in the audience. I bought macaroni and cheese and I ate it.
Wait, they make macaroni and cheese at the Funhouse?
They make macaroni and cheese, like scare quotes around make.
It's there.
I think it's Easy Mac because
Like
we also
a microwave situation.
we got like chips and queso and it tasted very similar.
Okay.
But you should get it. It had jalapenos in it. It was good.
I won't. There's a burrito place right next door that's fucking tremendous.
good.
I'm gonna tell
Anyway.
Luna that you're
Oh
shit talking.
beer.
Yeah, that's true. But no, the show was great. It was so 10 comedians and Nick and Maricha did a little co-hosting.
Yep.
And it definitely I think it took some people some time to warm up, but at the end of the night, not literally. At the end of the day, there's 10 comedians in the room, plus their friends, folks that come through. And there was a bunch of really great comedy. And especially, I was saying this to you the other day off mic, watching comedians who, go up and they know that there's 3 people in the audience, and they're just I'm going to knock this shit out of the park.
Yeah.
Is really fucking cool.
Yeah, it's a huge pet peeve of mine. I mean, I'm going to just reveal this on the podcast to people who listen to it. I won't rebook somebody if they don't do that, if they are treating, they're like, oh, nobody's even here, blah, blah, blah. It's like, I've been that single audience member where, it's like, and the person that gave me an awesome show, that is something so cool and so special, even though it was like an intimate thing and it was only one person.
Okay, so when you were the only audience member at a show, did they look at you the whole time?
Dude, here's how it basically made me start doing comedy. So my first, so when I started doing, before I started doing comedy, I was too scared to sign up. So I started going to mics and just watching. And I had my mustache at the time.
Yeah, okay.
And shout out to my friend Phil Colas. This is who this is about. I went to 3 open mics in one night and was an audience member. And my later became my friend Phil, called me out. He's like, hey, man, are you going to kill us all later? Because I sat in the front row.
There's this creepy guy with this mustache sitting in the front row, and he's followed me.
The mustache has been at 3 mics in a row.
Yeah.
Were you laughing at all the same jokes over and over again?
Yeah,
They would just tell the same joke and be like...
When I started,
talking about peanut butter, and you were just like,
I had just heard it earlier in the night. It was a lot of the same people.
And they didn't amend it at all. They just did the same joke that had bombed twice already.
I want to know what sick fuckers are going to 3 back-to-back-to-back mics in one night.
It was me.
No, I mean performing.
Comics?
That seems
a lot of them.
Oh yeah,
that's
it's
really
like a whole
common
thing. Like it's like, oh, we went to 5.
I've done.
What's
3.
the most you've done?
I think I've done 3. I've definitely done 3 a couple of times.
Okay,
I've never done 4.
5 is my max.
I
in
feel
one
like
night.
that.
It's like when people brag about how many times they had sex in one night,
Yeah.
and I'm just like, yo, I know that after a couple, you're not bringing your A game. Yeah.
Yeah, you're probably shooting blanks by
Unless
the last
the
couple
next
there.
morning counts as another one.
Are we talking
then
about?
it's 1.
Yeah, you don't do it because it's fun. You do it because then you get to brag to your dickhead friends about how much you did in one night, and you're just like,
But for real, what's your record?
open
mics. One night.
I went to one open mic one time.
No. We're not talking about that. You brought it up. How many times have you fucked in one night?
One night.
And also, what's a night?
times.
To completion?
To completion.
Like, how many times did I nut in one night?
Yep.
Yeah. How many times you nut in
Nut
one
night.
night, Terry?
I didn't know we were going
nights?
blue tonight.
We're going hard in the paint.
3? I don't know. I'm a sensual lover, man.
That's a lot.
No, and not on some weird all right, give me 5 minutes.
Yeah, three's my. I can't. 3 is my maximum. As
3
well.
is like you hit a fucking grand slam.
Yeah, that's a grand slam. I don't think it's no drugs. You can't take any drugs.
Yeah. Maybe that's the deal. Maybe. Oh, okay.
Because if you took I could probably.
I need to
bang
get
a
some
few more
fucking
out if
performance enhancing drugs. Yeah, I don't do coke.
I feel like there's an upper limit on how many times you could come, though.
No, I feel like
I think your body does it the way that your car wants to run when it's running out of gas, and you're like, "Come on, buddy!" And it's like, "That's all I got."
Eventually, it just shoots some dust out.
Yeah,
like you do enough coke that the coke
and then
just
you're just on the side of the highway, and you're like, "I fucking knew this was gonna happen. God damn it!
Okay,
should have had a sandwich." Yeah.
Yeah, I don't even remember how we got to there, but I wanted to start doing comedy, so I just started going to open mics, and because I had been listening to podcasts and I heard all these famous comedians and they talked about like their processes, and I actually liked seeing the jokes, and then some of them did tweak it slightly.
You watched through the night as they.
I wanted to see that.
The
I
two
wanted
or three
to see
good
the process.
comics in the scene as they fixed their joke throughout the night and made it better.
Or like I remember somebody did different punchlines at each one, and I was like, my mind was blown. But like whenever you see that, it's somebody who wants to do comedy. It's not somebody who's just like a super fan, you know?
Yeah. The reason I brought that up is like last 2.5 weeks ago, some show at Funhouse, I hosted a show.
Right.
And no one was there except the comics and Joanna. Mm-hmm. And so I was hosting, and then I would sit next to Joanna, and for a second I thought they were looking at me, and then I realized like half the comics on the lineup did their entire set specifically directly to her, like just with beaming. Eye contact. Yeah. And she was like, she thought it was funny, but also she brought it up enough times that I was like, all right.
It makes you uncomfortable.
How could it not?
I mean,
it would make me uncomfortable.
It's like you're on like one of those America Got Talent shows.
It was funny because like some of the other comics on the lineup noticed it and were like either making fun of their friends to me or like giving their friends shit. They were like, yeah, you told your entire fucking set straight to her. We all saw you. And they were just like, yeah, well, she's the only audience. And
yeah, but just like, so that was the thing that I told you is like, I don't care how many people are in the audience. Pretend like the place is packed.
Yeah, that's what I do. I pick an area in the back, and I do my set to the back of the room. I like it, not like the back of the room thing where you tell your inside jokes.
Yeah,
but like I try to. I just pretend that the room is full, and I just look straight out, and you can't see the audience anyways most of the time if it's well lit. Yeah. So it's like I do that because I know how uncomfortable it makes me if somebody's like telling jokes to me.
Yeah.
Like that just makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, it was one of those things where I was like, okay, I'm going to make sure I don't tell all my jokes specifically to one person. Yeah. Like I definitely will look specifically at people from time to time.
I don't do it at all.
I have a hard time not doing that.
You know what else?
I don't know why.
A comic gave me this tip at one point. I would not wear my glasses on stage because then I couldn't see the audience very well.
Oh, okay.
When I was nervous.
Yeah.
Like in a big room. Also, they can see your eyes better because if you have glasses, there's like glare and stuff. It was a while. It was weird because it was like I used to consciously always put my glasses in my pocket, and then I just kind of started forgetting to do it because I was doing so many shows, man.
Yeah,
I just like the idea of a comedian who's just like secretly thinking like, finally, this fucking astigmatism is paying off. Like I can't see shit up there.
I can't see the second row. This is awesome.
A comedian has for sure had that thought.
Oh yeah.
Like they wrote a joke with one mid-level punchline about an astigmatism, and they were like, oh, thank God my eyes are fucked up.
An astigmatism?
They're like, this is going to kill. And then the guy that came to the 3 open mics in one night didn't laugh at all, and they're like, 3 strikes and I'm out. Fuck, I got to get rid of the astigmatism joke.
I got to fuck up my other eye, bro.
Is it stigmatism? I thought it was stigmatism.
Astigmatism.
No, it is astigmatism. It's one word. It's not a.
The letter A
space
is included in the word. Yeah.
I love how this is what I have.
Oh, no.
I've never written it before or read it.
I definitely got it in one eye, maybe in both.
It was just told to me verbally, and I just assumed that it was stigmatism.
Well, I also think it's like it's not a noun, but it's like a condition. So you have astigmatism. And you're thinking of like astigmatism when it's like, no, I have COVID. I have astigmatism.
COVID.
Yeah.
COVID.
No, and I think what astigmatism is it's like where your eye is no longer perfectly round.
Yeah, right.
Isn't that what it is? It's a little bit lumpy.
And it's one is different than the other.
Yeah. I'll tell you what.
But no, you got to get, for whatever eye has the astigmatism, you got to get a different type of contact lens than you would on a normal ass eye because it's like, it's a different.
Right.
It's not quite perfectly round anymore.
Okay.
I think that's it, but I could be completely wrong.
I'm
not a doctor.
One other thing that we do have is a show that's theoretically about shoes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's talk about them. Let's talk about them.
Shoes. These.
Yeah, Nick, you got some shoes. What are we
These
looking
mine.
at?
These are the Jordan 1 A Star is Born, alternatively called the Jordan 1 Sports Illustrated. They came out in December of 2018. This is the first pair of Jordans I ever bought, like around when I started getting into sneakers. And I thought they looked cool because the swoosh has a lot of colors on it. And otherwise, white and black, clean colorway.
Why isn't this called the Jordan 1 Christmas?
It came out literally 4 days after Christmas. It should be called the Christmas.
Yeah, why is it not called the Christmas?
I wear them at Christmas. They also came with black laces, and they also came with red laces. So at Christmas, I put red laces in one, green laces in the other. Festive.
This really here's what my theory is on this. I like this sneaker a lot, actually. Yeah. I wear a lot of red and green, and it's like a low key. Like I remember as a kid, always someone told me that was Christmas.
Have a Christmas show. If you have a Christmas show and you want to borrow these to look festive. Knock yourself
Here's
out.
the issue with it is that red and green are opposites on the color wheel. So they have a great contrast, which is why it works really great for Christmas. Unfortunately, that cursed holiday has ruined red and green as a pairing basically anywhere else.
I'm gonna reveal something. This is a Bjorn style tip, I guess. You know how you can do that is I'll wear red with camo. I wear a lot of red with camo.
Yeah, and so then you just look like a woodsman.
Yeah, like a Christmassy woodsman.
Yeah, like you're about to go find Santa and shoot all the reindeer.
Shoot all of his reindeer. Like I'm gonna murder his reindeer. And that's the look. You know, when I leave the house, I'm like, you know what? I want to look like that.
These shoes are kind of fun because they did a whole bunch of story. So the color of the swoosh commemorates the first time Jordan was on the Sports Illustrated cover.
Question, is Sports Illustrated still around?
I think so. They make a bikini issue with hot chicks.
Sports Illustrated is still around. I think like many other legacy publications, they've done a lot of online now. Like I don't know. I can only imagine that they still have an issue on newsstands.
Did you have Sports Illustrated for kids? Because I did.
Never did, no.
Did you have that?
I was more of
a poor attempt to get me into sports.
My parents didn't like sports and actively kind of discouraged us from liking them.
I had like the animal ones. I had like highlights for kids, and I had there was like some.
We got highlights for kids for a minute. I got what's the one Ranger Rick? I got fucking Ranger Rick, shit. Dude. It was a raccoon that like was a forest ranger. Talks about the woods or something.
Nintendo Power and Sports Illustrated for kids. I had that.
I had like those kitty magazines like Ranger Rick, and I think my mom got highlights.
Yeah.
So I like low-key want one of these Bucks jerseys.
Yeah, so that was the
cool.
thing. We looked this up. Yeah.
This swoosh is this color because this is the first ever cover of Sports Illustrated that Michael Jordan was on, and it was playing the Milwaukee Bucks. And their jersey has this like series of greens that is on this shoe. Now, Bjorn, unlace the thing, because on this one, I forget if it says something different or the same thing, but when you fold these wings back, it says A Star is Born, and then it has December 10th, 1984, which is when that cover was published.
Oh, this one just says A Star is Born. I would show you guys, but it's like gloss black.
It's gloss black,
black
on
black.
black.
When were these
cool.
When were these released?
December of 2018. Like December 28th or some shit. Like last couple days of the year.
December 1984. Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, these are kind of cool because they have all this, like, they put a lot of effort into this shoe, into making it commemorate a thing.
The thing that I like about it is that it doesn't feel super forced. You know, sometimes when they want to do that whole backstory, narrative to really push something, it comes off as like kind of hacky or just like
how can we do red and green?
Yeah, like really forced. And I feel like with these, they could stand alone. But then those are just kind of like
to stand alone because they're not shouty about the story. And if you really care about the story, you have to actually look into it. Well, but I think it does say A Star is Born back here.
I think the shoe begs those questions, right? So you you look at it and your first question is like, well, what's up with the swoosh? And then you're going to like look into it and you're like, oh, it's a pull from the Bucks jerseys. You see like the Stars Born stuff. Like I think it's done in a really really clever way that like you find out about this Sports Illustrated cover because of the shoe. It's not like a really iconic moment for a lot of the people that are collecting shoes now.
Right.
So you wouldn't naturally think like, oh yeah, that's from his issue of Sports Illustrated.
Yeah. I always just thought they were cool looking, and that's why I bought them.
I like these. Having them in hand is really interesting because the swoosh is, it's all stitching.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
embroidery.
Embroidery, thank you. It's embroidery, and Terry knows a lot about embroidery.
Not as much as I would like to.
Not as much. Like, does that look like a fun? Like,
It looks easy.
multicolored.
It's done by a machine.
Well, yeah, but you have to set all the settings properly.
yeah.
To get it right, but they. I like the tumbled leather on it. It's like a nice soft leather.
Yeah, it's a pretty decent,
And it's kind of a matte
tumbled leather.
but it's like a soft. It actually reminds me of. I didn't mean to. It's very similar to the leather on these
it totally
fours,
is.
which a lot of people. It's like very soft. Whereas like sometimes it's a little bit harder, and it's like a matte. I like a matte finish. An interesting thing that there's a leather another leather piece. It's not a tumbled leather. It's like a regular leather for the Nike Air, whatever this is called.
Yeah, that's made out of leather up
Which
there.
is usually just a.
That's like a taffeta.
It's usually
tag.
just what it is on this. It's just canvas, just plastic or fabric.
And then the inside of all of my Jordans is like this neoprene, but this is not. This is almost like I don't know. It's something else. I don't know what it is.
It's just a fabric, just a nylon.
Like a nylon. It's a little rougher, a little less soft, but and probably. I don't know, warmer.
Well,
but
I think these are older than any of the other pairs we have. 2018 might be the oldest pair of Jordans that
because these have the neoprene, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, so you're saying that was a design change for them?
It could have been. I don't really know. The other thing is, unlike this is, well, I have the silver toes too that I've never worn, but I think on both of them, these wings are stitched down.
Oh,
whereas
they're
on this,
stitched down.
the wings are not stitched
a little
down.
flappy.
They're like they are on the Dunks.
Do you think that's because they went with that like hit on the inside and they're like, well, we can't stitch these down?
There are
Yeah.
other
Wonder
ones.
what's on the inside of these, dude. Hey,
right.
hand me that knife.
There are other pairs of
Hand me
ones
those
that have
scissors.
the loose wings.
Yeah.
It's kind of a. I don't really know why they decide to do it on some and not on others.
Just a choice.
Well,
yeah.
I used to cut these off on the inside
On
of
your
my
Dunks, right?
Yeah, it's weird to even say that. Like I used to modify my Dunks for skating.
Yeah, but you skated them.
For skating because
Back
I like
when
to
that
lace.
was what you did with them.
I lace my Dunks to here. I don't lace them up here because it makes it harder to ollie, and it just it just was weird on my feet. So I would only lace them to here. And then but then you have this flap that's just like flapping around, and I didn't like that, so I would cut the inside piece and then just let the outside.
I really want you to skate a pair of your ones.
Yeah,
like
to try it out.
No, just to like actually beat the shit out of a pair of the ones that you have
by
the mids?
skating them. Oh, I would love to skate a pair
or
of
even
mids.
those highs, those Shadow 2.0.
See, I really wouldn't like skating those.
Oh, because of the back?
Because of how high this back is. I like a mid. I would skate like a. The only thing is I wear these very loose.
Yeah.
So, but they're like the sole. I would way rather skate.
Right. The ones have a skatable sole.
This is just like it's the air unit. I don't really skate anything with an air unit.
Yeah.
Terry, do you skate anything with an air unit in it?
No.
Would you? I wouldn't. Yeah.
I have skate shoes. Like I have like the Janowski Supers
so what was
or whatever,
the point of like the Osiris and stuff? Those had an air unit.
That was a weird time.
Did they suck to skate?
That was when there was this trend of just like big drops and like, so they were like, oh, we're dropping off huge things. We're going to put an air unit.
Oh, okay. That was for people
like
who were doing something stupid.
Like,
they were trying to hurt themselves.
There was
and
just a
become
moment.
Fail video.
There was a moment in the '90s where all the shoes were just big. And
it was just
puffy.
tech shit. They were doing the same thing that shoe companies have been doing forever. They added a bunch of features to justify raising the price $10, whether or not it affected performance or not.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So.
I still really want them to bring back those.
All right. So Terry, what are these shoes worth? Let's figure it out.
So what'd you pay?
I paid, I think $160 was what they.
Did you get those off like the sneakers app, or
this
what did
is
you
the
get?
first thing I ever got off the sneakers app.
Oh, okay.
Yep. I downloaded the sneakers app and scrolled through it, and these were toward the bottom, and I was like, you know what? Those are cool. I'm going to go for those.
Oh, like they were still available?
No, it was before they came out. Like when I first downloaded
Oh.
the sneakers app, this is the first pair I even went for on there, and I got them because there was no hype around these.
Yeah. I mean, for
The fact
for
that
10s,
they're even $215 is
Wait, go
wild
back
to me.
go back to the sizes. The size 7 is
Yeah.
$5.19. So the ladies like this one. LL.
Yeah, well, also they probably made like 20 of those.
Yeah,
True,
I feel like that's more of
true.
a quantity than
Yeah. Look, they made
it.
it in a damn size 18. You could have feet like a damn T-Rex
Yep.
and be wearing these shits.
But again, remember that like all these prices are like brand new, right? So
They're
I
all
think
dead stock.
I think if you're saying you paid $160 for them brand new off sneakers app,
Yeah.
then just sitting on them for 3 pushing 4 years, that's no problem. I got no
is
problem
that
seeing
many years?
I mean, if they came out
18?
December
Dude,
2018,
I'm old.
so coming up on 3 years.
Anyway.
Were you living in Portland at that time?
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah.
I think you're just paying like the premium for some poor schmuck to keep it in the garage.
Let's look up the other pair of shoes I bought that year. The first pair that got me into sneakers. Look up the Yeezy 350 Butter.
So that was our first.
These ones right here?
Yeah.
323.
What'd you pay,
Look at
300?
that shit. No, I paid $270
Ooh.
off of StockX. I didn't get them off the app.
Oh.
I wanted them. I wanted a pair of Yeezys, and that's the only pair I've ever actually bought off StockX for myself. The only other pair is those ones I bought for you for your birthday last year.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and that's like, it seems pretty stable. Like highest bid, 300.
Yeah, because they stopped making this type of Yeezy that was just a solid color and didn't have a clear stripe or anything.
Uh-huh.
And they only
Gotcha.
ever made like the white, the butter, and the sesame.
So I
Anyway.
was thinking about this the other day. What were you gonna say, Terry? Sorry.
No, I was actually gonna throw it to this, and I was gonna do it in the way. Let's do this transition.
Yeah.
So we were just talking about how this is Nike doing a history of Jordan as like a retrospective, like the first time he was ever on Sports Illustrated, right?
Yeah.
And Bjorn, you hit us with this idea, a conversation about Nike and Jordan's relationship. And I think
Right.
this got a shot in the arm when The Last Dance came out, because they kind of touched on this a little bit. I don't know if y'all remember. And the question that you presented was, who benefited more from the Nike-Jordan relationship?
Right.
Michael Jordan or Nike, the brand? And I'll let you boys take it away.
Well, I want to. There's a little more I want to preface because there was that moment between when the 2 came out, which we really needed. One of us needs to get a 2.
Well, they're
So we
coming
could-
out with an off-white
Are they?
too pretty soon. Yeah.
Okay, so we'll both go
We'll
for that.
both go for that.
You know the thing about the Jordan 2,
I think
right?
it'd be hilarious.
What is the thing about the
if
Jordan
the
2?
first
Even if I
off-white
know,
Jordan that
we
either
might
of
have
us
to-
get is the 2.
So the Jordan 2 was what Jordan almost left. He didn't like it so much, and it was just it's the universally hated Jordan.
Which is funny because there's Jordans that are fucking trash.
I
But
know.
please
Some
continue.
of the newer
Well-
ones, it's like whatever. But
Yeah, after the Jordan 14, nobody gave a fuck because
Yeah.
Jordan himself stopped playing the game.
Uh-huh.
So it was
so we
like,
kind of don't talk about anything.
anything after Jordan 14 doesn't matter really in the conversation. But of the 1 through 14, the 2 is the one that everybody's like, that shit was trash.
I'm pulling them up. Just keep
Yeah,
going, Bjorn.
bring the
Yeah.
Jordan 2 up.
So the Jordan 2 almost caused Jordan to leave Nike.
Yeah. And
He was going to go across the river, like right across the river.
They were not across the river at that point.
Were
but
they?
yeah,
I don't know
No, yeah,
at the time.
he
Adidas
was
has
going
not been
across
here
the
that long.
pond to
They were going to go across the.
Yeah,
he
he was going to
gonna
go
to Germany.
Right.
to Germany to because they used like a French designer to do it, or Italian. It's sort of like it really does have like an Italian.
The goal of it was
Shoe.
to look like a luxury sneaker.
Let me-
They had these fake snake skin and all this shit to make it look fancy and like luxury.
I'll say this: it looks like an '80s basketball shoe.
It does.
Like,
It is
when you look at
an
like
80s
what
basketball shoe.
no, that's what I mean. Is like when you
1984
look at like
or
what Patrick Ewing was
86.
wearing.
Yeah.
You know, like they were wearing some stuff
Yeah.
that looked like this. Looks like someone was like, how do we make a Chuck Taylor a better performing shoe? You know what I mean? Like the silhouette is like,
and it has like some loafer feels to it.
Yeah.
I feel like.
Well, it was supposed to look kind of dressy
Okay.
and like fancy.
it looks like a wrestling shoe.
What is? Oh my god, it totally does. What is your favorite part of the two? Even though we like, because
Honestly,
I know what mine
don't
is.
hate this colorway. This is the colorway I would want if I get a pair. Is like this
the red.
original
So
kind of
for
bread.
the listeners, it's a black red.
It's
a bread.
mostly white with some red and some black.
Yeah.
I kind of
A
I
wed.
don't hate it. That's the thing is I don't hate it. I don't know that I'd wear it a lot. There's
See,
something
that's the
about
thing.
it. It feels like a shoe that's like 80% of the way there,
It's-
and like it needs something to
It's a
zhuzh
sneaker-
it up. It needs some zhuzh.
Right. It
You
feels
know?
like it's a sneaker that you would have to have it, and
Yeah.
you would pass it over every single time. You're like,
Oh, yeah.
it doesn't match the outfit that good, so
I would
we're
wait
gonna
until
pass
I was
over it.
no. I would wait till I was like on a show with a bunch of like real sneakerhead dudes,
Just to
and then
piss
I'd
them
wear
off?
the twos just to be a douche.
It would be kind of fun to do that.
Here's my question: Does it look less goofy when it's not laced like a fucking football cleat? Like that's
They did lace it like a nerd. I don't know. Here's the thing: is I have no idea because I've never
seen him?
a human
I've never
being
even
wearing
seen him in
twos.
person. I saw him in person once at Deadstock.
Yeah, or at
in a
at
wild,
Index.
in a wild. It was like the purple and it was kind of
Yeah,
that,
I think
like,
they had a blue pair at Index for a minute too.
That one in the one I saw the one go up in the middle.
Oh,
the
those
purple-
crazy colored ones.
Yeah, it was like or
that
no,
don't
it's-
even match.
There they are. That
Yeah.
one. Yeah.
This
That one.
one.
I've seen that in person, and I was just like, oh god.
See, yeah,
like that.
I
was
remember
like,
those dropped like last year, and I was like, I thought about trying to buy those, but then I was like,
it
those
looks
are
like
ridiculous.
a designer handbag. It's like what you. I don't know. That's
Yeah,
what it looks.
except
it looks like
looks
a no. It looks
Yeah.
like a creative recreation shoe. Like those fucking
Yeah.
dog shit things.
Right, but if they said Chanel on them, everyone would buy
Well,
it.
so-
These
but-
the
and-
off-whites that are coming
And
out.
this is what I was gonna
Yes.
say is that like I look at this shoe and there's nothing about it.
Those are sick.
They have the fake crack with the like. It's sort of like reminiscent of like when the broken plate and then they fill it with like gold.
Yeah.
It's sort of that where they had like the old one, the photo of the old one.
No, I like the way that Off-White did these. I
Let me
feel
see
like
if I can bigify that. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah.
I feel like the way that they really didn't do a lot, but I feel like they kind of.
And then they
I
gave
feel like they
like
improved them.
Oh, I don't like
by
those
make-
at all. I'll
doing
go for them
off-whites.
for you, but I
Okay,
do
cool.
not
I
like
want
them.
them. I'll wear them. I'll be the douche wearing off-whites. I got
God.
called out for wearing off-whites at our show last week.
Well, no, I wouldn't say you got called out.
Shane?
I would
No.
no, not Shane.
Ooh, who was it?
Cameron Peloso.
Oh,
Yeah.
really? That's
He was like-
unexpected. What
he
was
was
he
nice
wearing?
about it. Oh,
some
fucking-
all stars.
No, he was like pumping you up. He was like, "Yo,
was.
Nick's out here. There's nobody in the audience, and he's wearing fucking off-whites. Are you
that's
kidding
No,
me?"
he was like, Nick, are you wearing off-whites? I was like, yeah, bro, it's my fucking show.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah. He's like, Nick, I can't even be mad at him. You're the cutest little hype beast around.
Yeah. Oh, that was he. He did like. Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
did
like
that. He's
busting
a
balls,
full-
but like with his
5
tonsils.
years younger
All right.
than me.
We're
Call me
having-
the cutest little hype
We're
beast.
having
but
him on the
it's
pod. I'm
whatever it is.
gonna hit him up. We're gonna
Yeah,
have
we
him on
do
the
need to
pod.
get him on. He's a fucking great. He's.
I'll tell you what.
So funny.
He hit me up. He was like, dude, what's up with this Cameron Peloso dude? He just total pro. Like that.
Oh,
that's
that's
like the ultimate compliment
No,
that you
he
could
crushed.
give.
But he was on the tent show that I did
Yeah.
a couple weeks ago, and I had a pretty good set. And then like, it was it was me, him, and me and him had the best sets of the night for sure.
Mm-hmm.
His set though, he fucking murdered.
That's awesome.
He did so well. Well, Susan Rice had a really good set too, but she was like a professional comedian.
Yeah. Yeah.
So like of the Us type of comics,
yeah.
he did so well. He's
That's good.
He's so funny.
He had
Well,
he had the best set at guest spot, in my personal opinion.
Oh, that's awesome
Oh yeah,
to hear.
no, he's
fucking
like
crushed.
when he gets in the zone, he's like
He was in the zone.
very good. Like, and
He-
he's in the zone most of the times I've seen him recently.
He was performing
he's
like there was 150 people there.
That's awesome to hear.
And,
I love that.
super high energy. Like,
Knows how to talk into a mic. Like,
Right.
which there were some. I'm not going to name names, but there's some people at
That's
guest spot the other night
crazy.
that could use a little mic discipline.
Oh,
wow.
I want to hear these names afterward.
Yeah, we'll talk shit
For
after.
sure.
Like we'll give praise on the pod, but then shit talk afterwards.
Yeah,
I'll-
exactly.
Like Shane said, wasn't for me.
all right.
But yeah, shout out to Cameron though.
Okay,
for
so we
being
got like
fucking
way
hilarious.
off though. Like, so the
Jordan
Jordan
brand.
2, the Jordan 2 came out, and Jordan hated him. So he hated him that he was gonna leave Nike and go to Adidas. He had like a meeting. The story is he had a meeting set up. He was gonna go over there, and then they were like, just check out these Tinker Hatfield designs for the Jordan 3, and he liked them so much. It brought him back. So yeah, definitely bring up. Just for the bread is the perfect one to bring up.
Oh, that's the Georgetown, but the black cement was the original.
Was it the black cement?
Black cement.
I like the white cement. I really kind of want. I like low key want the white.
Look up.
Those are the golf ones.
No.
I was gonna
look
say
up-
this shit looks like a driving shoe.
It's not
This
called
looks like a
bread. It's
lug.
called black cement.
That's the golf one.
Anyway,
I
Jordan
almost bought
3
them.
black cement. That was the original colorway, and that shoe, yeah, like there was that show on Netflix too that talked about it, but also Last Dance. Like Jordan really liked the 3s, and it was enough to keep him with Nike. And then they followed that up with the 4s, which were, as far as performance and most people's opinion style, not my opinion, but most people's, even better.
So this one, the my favorite part of the 2 is the heel tab, and I think that they incorporated that
They kinda
slightly.
kept that, yeah.
They kind of like it almost feels like somebody just bumped it up and was like, no, this is a
Yeah.
cool element. Let's make it bigger.
Well, the 3s are,
And then put the
I think
logo
the 3s
bigger.
are my favorite Jordan. I wear 3s a lot.
I really like. That's my favorite part of the 3. Is
The 3
that,
is the Jordan I wear
but it
by
also
far the most.
introduced the elephant print. Is that correct?
Yeah, and I think it might be the only one with elephant print, really.
Yeah. So
Like of the major like the main
Right.
Jordans that aren't like the wacky ones.
so that's
like,
that's what happened
Yeah.
though. Is
That
because of
righted
the
the
sneaker.
ship. That
Yeah, this
brought him
run-
back in the
This
fold.
brought him back into the fold.
Yeah.
So my thought was like, because Yeezy, we're going to bring him into this conversation a little bit.
Yay,
He-
the artist formerly known as Kanye West.
Kanye West.
God damn it.
When's he going to turn himself into a symbol? When is it just going to just be like a, I don't know, a poop emoji or something? It's going to be an emoji.
It's going to be an emoji.
It's going to
you're
be
sure.
an emoji.
You're
You know,
de-
like-
we're going to talk about this later. I've got some opinions, but
So he was with Jordan, or he was
With
with
Nike.
Nike, and then he bailed because they didn't give him enough creative control or whatever, and went over to he went across the river to Adidas,
yeah.
Or pond, whatever.
And I think at that point it was River.
But I was thinking, what? Yeah, it was river. What if alternate universe? If Jordan had done that, never went back to Nike.
Yeah.
And then I was like, so, and I love how Terrence put it a really great way. So is Jordan the horse or the jockey?
And to define that further, are we saying that Jordan adds more value to Nike, or does Nike add more value to Jordan? Is basically what we're saying, right?
Yeah.
So if Jordan is the horse, then he's adding value to Nike because the jockey isn't going to run around the track.
It matters, but it doesn't really matter.
Yeah, like the jockey is somewhat important. Like you have
The
to
horse
have a good,
can win the race without the jockey. The jockey cannot win the race without the horse.
I love that. That's perfect.
Yeah. Well, the jockey definitely can't win the race without the horse. The jockey probably guides the horse to a win, but the horse is the one doing the heavy
right,
lifting.
yeah. So the horse is like the big player in this.
So
the-
anyway, does Jordan add more value to Nike, or did Nike add more value to Jordan?
Yeah.
And what's
So
your opinion?
My opinion is I think that Nike's the horse and Jordan's the jockey. I think that Jordan gets, or that Nike gets a little bit more clout, but I really feel like they take so much control. And we saw that with like the Witherspoons, where too much like he's not like he didn't design this, someone else designed it. I mean this is the conversation all the time. It's just like they're kind of like, I feel like Nike doesn't fully give the reins over to their people.
I don't think they do ever.
I feel like they send him a thing, they're like, pick the colors. No, not where they're going, just pick the colors. like they send him a couple of options.
They
or
send
like,
them like those little paint things that you get at the hardware store,
Yeah.
and they're like, okay, you want
Which
74362, and 85252.
Or even that.
Cool.
I don't even know if they do that.
We'll go from here.
They're like, because like the breads, they just match his jersey colors.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not even.
That's a fair point. I feel
That's
like
what I
I
think.
kind of disagree with you, though.
Okay.
I feel like, because part of the whole story is that Nike was like a new brand back then.
Okay.
Like, Nike wasn't really important or respected. It was like a startup in the 80s.
Okay.
And they just got lucky and they signed this dude that like became like turned out to be like the best of all time basketball player.
Yeah.
And then they happened to find Tinker Hatfield, who designed these great shoes that Jordan happened to love. And I think the fact that they had Jordan gave Nike this level of prestige that they wouldn't have had without him. And I don't think, because Nike is absolutely dominant in shoes right now, like sneakers, and has been for 20 years. As far as like, whenever, like the swoosh is just so iconic and such a thing for so many people, being like, partly because of Jordan. Here's why I think that. When I was like in 5th grade, we found a pair of shoes at a fucking Goodwill that were Nike Air. And I remember I didn't even like the way they looked that much, but they were my size and they fit me. And I was a kid that was going to grow out of them in a year anyway. And my parents were like, these are good shoes. We're getting you these shoes. These are Nike Air Jordan.
Yeah.
I'd fucking seen 2 basketball games in my life, and it's because they were the only thing on at a hotel. Like, but my parents weren't like crazy basketball fans. They were aware that it was a game that was played, but beyond that, it was still in their head. Nike Air Jordan.
It was like a cultural zeitgeist thing.
Yeah,
it was like
and,
everybody
the fact
knew about
that
it.
Michael Jordan was connected to it. They're like, he's fucking good at basketball. These must be great shoes, and they were. They lasted a while.
It's kind of like the
I would love to still have those shoes because I'd like to know what they are. They might have been Jordans. I have no idea. They were black.
They were 2s.
I hope they were, but no,
That'd
I
be
think
sick.
they had an air unit in them, so they weren't 2s. I think they're probably like some shitty Team Jordans or something, but they lasted me. They were a high top, or at least a mid.
But yeah, so your vantage point is that
I think
Jordan
that
pulled
Jordan
Nike out of obscurity.
Yeah, exactly. And he added a level of prestige that they wouldn't have had without him. And he kind of made them like the brand that was synonymous with like being a leader. Like Nike is in a lot of people's minds, whether it's true or not, like they're the innovator. They're the top of the line.
That's why
in
I
athletic
think
shoes.
that's why I think he's the jockey still. I
Really?
still think he's the jockey. I think Nike was doing cool shit. They had some great designers, and he helped them get eyeballs on those great designs. Like I think they had something really good, and they were doing great work. And so it wouldn't have mattered who it was. It just happened to be Jordan. That he was the biggest deal, but I think
so. You're saying that
though that
even
Adidas would probably be bigger if they had gotten him.
That's what I'm thinking. Is if they'd gotten him, I feel like Adidas isn't a step down in quality from Nike. In fact, I like Adidas better than Nike.
One thing I
for
feel
like day-to-day shoes.
We should probably flag is that at this point, like this is a very theoretical concept.
Yeah.
I don't believe that Adidas was making basketball shoes.
Yeah.
So
They might
maybe
not
to
have.
your point, it could have been the same process. Like if you are correct, and if Jordan was really the engine of this locomotive, then he could have gone to a company like Adidas that was historically a soccer shoe company, right? And he could have brought them to the next level the way that I think Bjorn is saying.
Well, I just
helped.
I'm just picturing like the Booznits with the Jordan name on it. Like it's just a soccer shoe that we're just like playing basketball in, you know, just like they did with like a skateboarder.
I mean, this is a skateboard shoe basically that he played basketball in. But
well, you know the reason that those became skate shoes, right?
because they're a skate shoe. They're fucking flat as shit.
Skate shoes became skate shoes because skaters could have access to them. So like a bunch of influential skaters were given boxes of them
Oh.
And then they
I think it was
put
also
them
a
in
style
videos.
thing. Like
Yeah.
this was before
It just-
performance skate shoes existed.
Oh, okay.
So it was just sort of like, oh, you're a skater, you wear
Yeah.
these shoes. It's like you're a skate. Like I remember, this is a weird reference, but like because I was in the world of snow skating, and forums were a thing. I don't know if that's still a thing.
The Adidas forum.
No. So in the snow
Like
skate
online
world,
forums?
the whole snow
Yeah.
skate world existed because it was a small community on forums.
Yeah.
And I remember because we
No,
used to make
forums are
You mean
fun.
like bulletin boards? I just want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
clarify because there is a shoe called the Adidas Forum that is a skate shoe.
Oh,
you're right.
okay. We're
God.
talking about internet
I'm
forums.
talking
where,
about internet
where
forums.
people
The World Wide Web.
make
But
up
we had
a
a-
fake name and talk
Right.
about shit.
We had a running joke because there was a forum that's, and because you could start a topic, you could start a whole thing, and there was a whole, like, it's sort of like a subreddit or something.
Yeah.
Before Reddit, it was like there was a whole forum of like, how do I dress like a snow skater? Like that was a thing, and that was where it was like a weird light bulb moment for me and some of my friends that were like, holy shit, we are these influencers. That it was just like
You were micro-influencers.
everybody was like, oh, if you want to be a snow skater, you basically
like
dress
Bjorn.
like Bjorn.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
like there was all this weird shit that I used to do where I would just like, I don't know, I would like,
Dude.
I had a bandana sponsor,
Dude,
so I
you
would
gotta
tie
go-
bandanas to my leg.
You have to go on on YouTube.
Yeah.
Somebody commented on the size 10 YouTube on the
Yeah.
I forget which episode.
Okay.
Is this Bjorn that used to do some
Oh my god.
snow skates?
like
Like you should go in as your
Deep
account
pull by
and
the
just be like,
commenter.
yes, that is me.
Yes.
Because I think some fan outreach on that one.
okay. Yeah.
Like I forget which episode it is, but we totally got a random
because
comment
it's like a low
on one of our old episodes where they were like, and this was like a couple weeks ago. They're
Right.
like, "Holy shit, is this the Bjorn from something snow skates?" And I
That's
was like, "Well,
hilarious.
yeah, it definitely is. Like, there's no other
Like,
Bjorn
no.
that was also into snow skates."
Dude, I had some moments
There's 9
where
people that ever snow skated.
I
And
was
you were
on-
like one of the best of them.
I was on an early date with somebody,
Mm-hmm.
and
like recently.
No. This
Oh.
was a while ago in Minneapolis. I was on a date,
Mm-hmm.
and somebody recognized me at
Oh
a
shit,
thing,
high roller.
and like was going crazy and like quoting me, and it was just like the weirdest thing of like, I'm not really in this world anymore, but like there's this full-blown adult that is just fanning out on me. Like it was just a weird moment.
That's crazy.
I ended up actually becoming friends with him and like hanging out a bunch because he did stand up as well. But yeah, it was just like a really funny moment to be like, and to be like on like an early date and someone just be
Yeah.
like, whoa, this dude's famous. What's going on here? Anyway,
All right.
weird reference. But
What we're talking
I guess so. What I was saying is just like the style of it is, it's interesting how, and that's why there are sponsorships, is you
Yeah.
sort of force, it's like horse cart situation of like, oh, I'm getting these. So like a bunch of early skaters were getting free Nike Jordan 1s and Dunks. And then they ended up in all of these videos and all of these photos, and then everyone was like, oh, I want to identify as a skater, as this like skater vibe, so I'm gonna wear the shoes that the guy's wearing in the photos. It's just, I
Yeah.
guess it's just marketing,
That's fair.
what it comes down to. But Terry, I want to know what your opinion is Jordan the horse or the jockey in the Jordan brand Nike relationship?
I'm going to take you on a quick journey, and I will pick a side
Ooh.
at the end. I
Okay.
promise. I'm not going to be the enlightened centrist on this issue. But I will say that like I do think that this is a Reese's peanut butter cup situation. I think that they both would have been completely fine on their own. They would have had great careers, great company, whatever.
Great
but
on
I,
toast.
But I do think that like the combination of the two was lightning in a bottle. It was the special sauce.
Yeah.
And I'm going to season that with some other elements. So like I don't think that you can have this conversation without acknowledging the significance of Wieden and Kennedy, the marketing company that was almost personally like responsible for the Just Do It campaign,
Okay.
for the entirety of Jordan's marketing brand. So for those of you unfamiliar, Wieden and Kennedy is a marketing firm here in Portland, Oregon. They kind of cut their teeth with Nike. Nike, I believe, was one of their first big accounts. And they were like a bunch of young marketers who were really in touch with culture. They knew what was going to like get people interested. And yeah, they created some of the most iconic marketing campaigns of all time. So I think that you've got to have that as the tripod, the third leg in this configuration. As you guys were talking, before I was kind of like just in the middle. I was like, I think this is kind of a weird question because you can't have one without the other. But ultimately, I'm going to side with Bjorn on this one because I think a couple different things. One, Adidas had already had superstar athletes. Mm-hmm. So they had all of their tennis stuff. They had the Stan Smith shit.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
And they were certainly big. But I think, truthfully, the thing that brought both Jordan, Nike, and then to an extension Wyden to that meteoric kind of place is that Nike knew exactly what to do with the assets that they had available to them. Because for those of you who either didn't watch The Last Dance, aren't familiar with basketball, Jordan's first couple years in the league were not good.
Right.
He played for the Bulls. The reason he played for the Bulls is because they had the number 1 draft pick because they weren't particularly good. Yeah. They were getting the dog shit whooped out of them by Detroit like on a regular basis, right?
Right.
So those first couple years were kind of a struggle session for Jordan because he was this like amazing talent who just couldn't really get a whole lot done in Chicago without major players. Now, we all know how that story plays out.
Right.
They bring more people to the team. They become this behemoth. But I think that like all of the legwork that happened in those formative years set the stage for Jordan to become the biggest name in the world. I do think, and a lot of this is like me reiterating things that were said in Last Dance.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dream Team made Jordan not just a national superstar, but a international superstar, right? Mm-hmm. That's the thing. When the NBA became a global sport and not just a very niche American thing, that's what put Jordan like into just like billionaire club, right? Like that's when the shit blew the fuck up. That's when every single country that was like, oh, we like American culture, we want to get in on American stuff. Oh, basketball, Michael Jordan. He's the Michael Jackson of sports. Like, he just sells everywhere.
Yep.
Yeah.
But I think, again, like, I guess my thesis statement is that I believe that Jordan was ultimately clay in the hands of Nike and the very, very cunning marketing people over at Wyden and then the folks that developed that whole facet. Because, Nick, you're 100% right. Nike was a running company. Mm-hmm. They made like waffle sole, like running shoes.
Yeah.
Prior to Jordan, they were Prefontaine. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I think that they were very smart at identifying that they had to diversify their offerings. They had to hitch their wagon to the cart of this young, like, superstar athlete. Mm-hmm. And ultimately, like, they put their chips on the right number and it hit.
Yeah.
I think that's the thing. I think some of it is definitely lightning in the bottle, kind of like blind luck, everything lined up their way. I also think that like by the time that the things that may have torn Jordan down came to be, so like some of those dodgy rumors that you hear about later in his career,
right?
They had so much fucking money they could bury that shit under the rug.
Yeah. Jordan at that point he was like kind of uncancelable.
Yeah.
You know?
But you see, like Under Armour tried to do it again with Seth Curry. Like you have some of these companies that now are making basketball shoes. Mm-hmm. A lot of the Chinese manufacturers have started to permeate the league a little bit. Now, I don't think you're going to be able to see like total domination like you did the way that Nike did.
Yeah, just like an era thing.
But it's kind of one of those things like the pie is big.
I feel like sort of part of this is he hit at the right time when like basketball shoe technology also lined up with decent fashion. Oh yeah. Because at this point, to have a properly performing basketball shoe, it's probably going to look stupid because all the new good basketball shoes look awful.
Just like pillowy.
Anything that people who play sports and are athletic says is like a good shoe for basketball, I hate and I don't want to wear.
Not particularly appealing.
Yeah, I like these. These aren't useful for anything. These
My feet hurt
barely
by the end
good
of the
to
day.
walk.
Well, so that's, and I think that's another really
These are
intriguing
good to
point.
sit down in and look like a cool guy
and talk
like
about.
that's it.
One of the other things that I think is it puts more points in Nike's category is that Nike used Jordan as the brand to revitalize performance footwear in basketball. Because as we all know, the ones are fucking dog shit, right? Like they're barely even good walking around shoes in 2020.
No,
honestly.
they like steadily improved.
But they
each
knew
model.
that they were going to do that because he was the flagship. He was the vanguard for their tech, and they knew that they wanted. I remember specifically being a young kid hearing the discourse around $100 basketball shoes, right? And you cannot continue to drive that price up without adding new bells and whistles.
Right.
Yeah.
It just so happens that the bells and whistles made a really good song for a lot of the people in the league because they were playing flat-footed. They were playing with things that like didn't have good arch support, didn't have good like ankle support, things like that. So,
all right. Well, let's get out of here on this one. So with these, I've seen you wear these quite a bit. I feel like I really like these. These are pretty sick, though. I don't like the highs at the end of the day, personal opinion. But are we blowing the back out of these, or is this a pavement princess?
I think these are kind of a pavement princess for me.
Really?
Yeah. I've worn them a bit, and I'll wear them at shows and stuff. But like I said, they've become like my Christmas shoes.
what do you think the wear count is on this? How many times have you put these on and wore them out?
20.
20 times since you got them in 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah. So definitely
I
a
think I've seen
special
you wear
occasion.
those more.
Yeah. These are definitely these ones that I'm wearing now, the Shattered Backboard 3.0, more of a blow the back out than those.
They are very Christmas. The other thing that I just was noticing is
I've worn those, I think, to a Christmassy event. I've definitely worn them to an open
Christmas
mic
party.
Not a Christmas party, because I think the only one I've been to since here is my work one, and we usually wear like suits. It's always at like some fancy
suits with
fucking
Jordan, with Christmas Jordan.
I'm not a suits with Jordan.
It's like the ugly Christmas.
You can't wear.
Why not?
We
I'm
went
not
over this
gonna do
last
it.
week. You weren't here, but Dave Chappelle's wearing some fucking. What did he have on?
He had Y3s with a suit.
Y3s with a suit,
Jordan,
and it just
or,
looked like.
Chappelle. No, but Chappelle can do that. I can't do that. I'm not doing sneakers with a suit. I've got
Really?
I've got nice boots. I got nice shoes. I'll wear those with
See,
the
I
suit.
don't got nice boots. I got
Get some nice boots.
$300 Jordans.
I have those too, but like get some nice shoes. Anyway,
Hold on. I do want to say real quick. We've been talking about boots lately, and I've been
Yeah.
like lusting after these $500 boots.
which
And-
the whites?
well, we've talked about them. Yeah, White's up in Spokane, and then
Yeah.
you're like the Wesco
Wesco.
shit. We're definitely going there
We
because
gotta go there.
I looked at some of their shit, and like if
It's
I can
fucking awesome.
if I can get the scratch and dents,
Field trip.
I'm ready to go.
Dude, and they're like, they're made literally
Yeah,
in
Scappoose.
Scappoose.
Dude, I'm gonna
Which
ride
is
my
not-
motorcycle over there. It's gonna be sick.
Fun word to say. Tell
Yeah.
me when you go. I'll drive my truck there. And
Well, I was
meet you
just
there.
gonna say like it's funny because I'm
I'm not
hemming
gonna
in.
sit on the back of your motorcycle, Terry.
We'll go koala style. You face back, but sit in front.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
No,
yeah.
I'll face you.
Ooh, can I come on my motorcycle?
Yeah.
No, I was just gonna say like I'm hemming and hawing. I'm like, oh, buy $500 boots that I'll have for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And then I'm on this show like helping produce a thing where we're regularly talking about shoes that are like $500 is like, oh, dude, I'd get 2 pair for $500 each.
Yeah, like, oh, only 500? That's not bad.
Yeah, no, we definitely have pissed some money out on shoes.
Maybe that's what I'll do. I'll sell all those shoes that I have, and I'll take the
yeah,
money
put in
and
your
I'll put them in a pair of White's boots.
Yeah, that's a good way to do it.
Fair enough. Okay.
All right, I think that's going to do it for this episode. Thank you so much for listening. Please like and subscribe. Follow us on YouTube, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever you get your podcasts. We have new episodes every Wednesday. Thank you so much.
Hold on.
Follow
What?
us on Instagram at Size
Oh,
10
yeah.
Podcast and follow us on Twitter at Size 10 Podcast.
Follow us on Twitter because I'm tweeting out there.
I know.
to
Terry's
me,
tweeting
just-
like a motherfucker.
I wouldn't go
love
that
it.
far.
I think I followed it with the Twitter that I don't even use.
I was gonna say Bjorn and Nick are like barely on Twitter as is. So.
Yeah, I don't like Twitter, but
I love
like
it.
but like Terry does, and he's good at it. And follow him; it's great.
DM us. You know what?
Follow us.
I'm gonna do this
Yeah.
impromptu. DM us some questions and we'll do them
Yeah.
live on air.
Send
Oh, for
Terry
sure.
a
In the
picture
future.
of your dick.
No, no. All right.
Do what you want. Fan outreach. Anyway,
Yeah,
all
whatever.
right. Thanks, guys.
All right, bye.